Hey kindergarten, what's up? Today I have a really cool Bible story that I can't wait to share with you. It is our last one of the year, but it is super special, and I think you guys are really gonna like it. So, but let's just recap last week. So last week we learned about Paul, one of Jesus's disciples, and remember his disciples were his best friends that traveled along with him and learned about God. But before Paul, he was known as Saul. And Saul was not very nice to Christians, not very nice to Jesus' people. And but once Saul met Jesus, he became known as Paul. So Jesus changed his name to Paul, and Paul realized, how great Jesus was, and he decided to follow him and he decided to tell more people about Jesus and God. And that we are going to continue with Paul's story today, and it is from the book of Acts in the Bible, if you guys want to look it up, chapters 27 and 28, okay? So our story today is called A Rough Ride. So Paul had gotten into a lot of trouble for telling people about Jesus. Now he was a prisoner. He had to sail to Rome, Italy, to let Caesar decide what should happen next. On the ship, a centurion named Julius was making sure Paul did not escape. The ship made many stops. First Sidon, then Myra. Julius made Paul switch ships. The new ship stopped off of Crete in a place called Fair Havens. It was getting on toward winter, and Paul wanted to stay at Crete until better sailing weather. But Julius and the captain of the ship wanted to sail on. So Paul's on the ship, and he knows that sailing is going to be very rough and the weather is going to be rough. So he suggests that they stay at Crete, but instead Julius and the captain say, nope, we're going to keep going. Let's keep sailing. So a northeastern wind came and took the ship away. The sailors couldn't fight it. They were afraid the ship would be torn to splinters, so they wrapped rope around it to make it stronger. The weather got so bad the sailors couldn't see the sun or the stars for weeks. To lighten the ship, they threw all the extra stuff off of the ship. An angel appeared to Paul and told him that no one would die as long as no one left the ship. So, at this point, they're sailing, and Paul was right. The weather is really bad. The sea is really rough, and it becomes really hard to sail on it. So the sailors start throwing things off the ship to make it easier to sail and to lighten it. But then an angel comes to Paul and says, no one's going to die as long as they stay on the ship. That's when God will protect them. So Paul cheered everyone up with this news. He tells the sailors, hey, we're going to be okay as long as we stay on the ship. God will protect us. So when the sailors realized the ship was close to land, they wanted to leave it. They lowered the lifeboat and were about to get in. But Paul warned the ship's officers and told them that if anyone left, God would no longer protect their lives. The officers, being wise, stopped the sailors from leaving by cutting the ropes to the lifeboat, and it floated away with nobody in it. Again, Paul spoke to the crew and urged them to eat. No one had touched any food for 14 days. After they ate, the sailors felt happier and began throwing more extra things off the ship, including some grain. The next day, they saw the shore. The ship couldn't get close enough to land safely, so everyone would have to swim ashore. The soldiers guarding the prisoners thought Paul and the others would try to escape, so they wanted to kill them. But Julius stopped the killing, and everyone swam or floated to shore safely. God kept his promise, and no one died. The island they landed on was called Malta. The ship's people were wet and cold. Paul was helping gather wood for a fire to warm everyone when a poisonous snake bit his hand. But God saved Paul, and all the people of Malta were amazed that he lived. The next day, Paul went to stay at the village leader's house. A man was sick there, and Paul prayed for him and healed him. Then all the sick people of Malta came to see Paul, and he healed them too. Paul and the sailors stayed on Malta for 3 months. Then Paul left for Rome. So isn't that so cool, kindergarten? Paul, he's on this ship and he's being taken as prisoner. And they're sailing on this really super rough sea. And you know that the sailors are starting to freak out. And it becomes crazy and hectic on the shore, or I'm sorry, on this ship. And they start to throw things off to make the boat easier to sail. And that's when the angel comes and tells Paul, hey, you guys are going to be safe as long as no one leaves the boat. No one gets off of the ship. So Paul starts to cheer everyone up during the storm, and he helps save their lives by telling them that God will protect them as long as we obey and do what he tells us to do. And so he helps save their lives, and he ended up healing the sick people of Malta. So where they ended up landing on this island, Paul started praying and healing the sick people of this village. And so yeah, he was just cheering everyone on, and he was being an awesome guy for all of these people around him, even though he was being taken as a prisoner. So I want you to think of someone that helps cheer you up. And, you know, when times are hard, can you remind others that God really does truly care about you, kindergarten? So I want to tell you, like, right now with this virus going on, like, it is hard and it is a little scary, but the fact that I'm able to do these videos for you, like, that cheers me up. So you guys cheer me up, and my family cheers me up. So who in your life cheers you up and shows you that God does love you and God does care about you, right? So we want to think of those people and we want to be thankful for them, right? But we also want to be those people. We want to tell people about Jesus and tell people that God really does truly care about them and loves them. And he just wants us to treat others nicely and love each other. And the biggest way we can do that is by telling people about him. So that is all from me, kindergarten. I hope that you enjoyed our last Bible study together. And I will see you soon. Have a great day, kindergarten.